Massive updates on the Ricky Starks AEW drama, plus major update to AEW Grand Slam. Plus, we are going to talk about Penta's contract situation. It's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. Welcome back to TAS, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get started right with Penta. It appears that Penta's contract actually ends next week, according to Fightful Select. As you guys know, this whole situation with Penta and Rey Fenix has been quite the interesting topic in the last few months. Obviously, there is a lot of belief that Penta and Fenix will be in WWE at some point. Now the real question actually remains, will Penta be in WWE before Fenix? Now, I've seen a lot of people tweet out this idea that Penta should go to TNA for about 6 months to 8 months, basically until Fenix is ready. And believe it or not, I actually like that idea because Penta had a really cool World Championship reign in TNA prior to going to AEW. And I was a very big fan of his singles work in TNA. TNA obviously could be losing some talent anytime from now until January. So for TNA to pick up Penta for a singles run, you know, even though it would be a little bit short, it would actually be something I support. Now, with that being said, I also love the idea of Penta getting a singles run in WWE until Rey Fenix is ready. I think it would be really cool for WWE to bring in Penta and bring him in immediately to the Intercontinental Championship picture or the United States Championship picture. Now, with that being said, there's rumors that WWE wants Jacob Fatu to be the next U.S. champion, which I think would actually be a really good idea. And I'm looking at somebody to take the IC title off of Braun Breaker. You got Sheamus, you got Ludwig Kaiser at Survivor Series. There is so many great matches you could go for both of these divisions. Penta going for the IC title would be really cool. It would be really nice for WWE to give him a title reign and just see how he does as a singles wrestler before Fenix comes in as well. Because let's just say it is very successful, then you just got to separate them. Put Fenix on SmackDown, put Penta on Raw. That's what I would like to see. Obviously, they're the Lucha Bros. Obviously, they're a tag team. And of course, it would be great for their tag team division. But I think if you did like a 6-month trial of seeing what Penta does in WWE as a singles guy, I think they would be very impressed. And I could see them going the singles route. With that being said, I'm a huge fan of Penta. And with his whole contract situation with AEW, it's really a shame of how things have kind of gone down, unfortunately. But it's a big win for whoever picks them up. So if it's TNA, if it's WWE, whoever it may be, it's going to be really cool. I do think Penta will be the first in WWE. I think it makes more sense. Obviously, I wouldn't be against the whole thing with him going to TNA as well, though, because obviously that could help them for a short period of time. All right, guys, so we talked about Grand Slam Australia. We know that they are struggling selling those tickets, and we know that they've decided to go away from the stadium. However, there is some really weird stuff being said about this, and obviously we got to take things with a grain of salt, but Brian Alvarez is speaking very confidently about Grand Slam. And they say that AEW is facing another issue with this event, which is now starting to put the thought into my head that maybe the event just altogether will be canceled. On the Wrestling Observer Radio, Brian Alvarez noted that AEW is facing another issue, which is that they are simply having a hard time finding another venue to host the event. Originally, they were looking at holding it at the Brisbane Entertainment Center, but they actually ended up having issues finding a way to fit it into the schedule because the venue already has like 2 or 3 different concerts happening. Billie Eilish is in concert, and basically AEW would have to make this work logistically, which is going to be a very, very tough challenge. Obviously, that is a problem. Now, what's really interesting is Brian Alvarez says that they don't think there's enough time for them to get into the Brisbane Entertainment Center, so it's likely going to be in the Pat Rafter Arena or the Nissan Arena, both of which seat about 5,000, and that appears to be most likely. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't live in Australia. I've never been to Australia. I can't tell you a thing about Australia, but what I can tell you is that you don't really see wrestling companies traveling internationally just to do a 5,000 seat venue. I don't know if it's going to make a lot of financial sense for AEW to do so. Now, the reason why I say this, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but if AEW went to, if AEW did Grand Slam Australia in the stadium, at the Suncorp Stadium, right? And there was 50,000 people, and the expectation is that they could fill it up, right? And then you realize that they can't fill it up, and then you have to downgrade to a venue that seats 5,000. If AEW doesn't sell out 5,000 tickets, that is not going to lead to good perception for this company. It is going to be overwhelmingly met with negative comments because people are going to say, look how much you tried to bite off. Look how much, like, you tried to do so much here. You tried so hard and you failed. And I think people will look at AEW as a failure. Now, I have to point this out. I am not here speaking negatively about AEW, but I think you guys know where I'm going to go with this. I said for a long time, Tony Khan should be very careful how he publicly pokes the bear being WWE. Because in last year or 2022 or whenever it was, when Money in the Bank moved from a stadium show to an arena, Tony Khan put out that tweet regarding Dana White. He was the one who got to break the news to Dana White that WWE had to move their venues and stuff. It was such a dumb tweet. And Tony Khan, honestly, like, thank God his social media activity has not been as bad since then. But that might be a reason why you should keep your mouth shut, because literally you are downsizing your venue here because you are struggling to sell tickets. And that's why you should never poke the bear. I don't think people understand how karma works. I don't think people understand why it's a big deal. But, sometimes you should just keep your mouth shut. I want them to do well in Australia. I've been hoping that they would do well in Australia, and they're not doing well in Australia. Maybe wrestling fans in the IWC shouldn't be blaming the podcasters for talking negatively about AEW, but maybe just understand that sometimes our criticisms towards AEW make sense and could be a very big part of the reason why AEW internally is struggling here. And that brings us to our final topic. Ricky Starks in a new interview with Chris Van Vliet. Absolutely amazing interview, guys. I hope you guys check it out. Basically, what you need to know, Fightful Select reported that Ricky Starks' contract did have an option earlier this year. Tony Khan did pick up the option for Ricky Starks and extended him. So now Ricky Starks' contract ends next year in the spring or summer. Okay, we got that out of the way. That's a really big shame because Tony Khan did the same thing to Ray Phoenix. They're extending people's contracts for whatever reason. Ricky Starks, obviously no creative plans, hasn't been used on TV, just showed up in GCW, spitting absolute fire. He has 1,000 reasons to believe as to why he's not being utilized on TV, but I want to talk to you guys and show you guys this clip from Chris Van Vliet. Chris Van Vliet, if you are watching this somehow, please don't copyright strike me. I'll put the link of the interview in the description. Fantastic interview, but I really just want to show you guys this. So let's take a look. Gotta press play, and let's do this the right way. Let's take a listen to what Ricky Starks had to say. Ladies and gentlemen, it's right here.
Adam Copeland hit you with one too. He hit you with you ripped off The Rock.
He did. You know what he called me? Do you remember?
A vanilla midget.
He called me a vanilla midget Rock ripoff. And that one, that clip goes viral all the time. And it's so funny because at the end of it, I wanted to say more, but if you see me smile and say, well, that really sent me over the edge.
And the fans like that.
Yeah. I only did that because I knew that this was about to get off track. Here's the thing about that. You might as well call me a great heel. And I even hate saying and talking like this, but you might as well call me a great heel because I got somebody so flustered on live TV that they stumbled and stuttered their way into one of the worst insults that you could say. That's so, passe. It's so 2000s. A vanilla midget. I could have hit him with the, I'm black, you idiot, but I didn't at the time. You know what I'm saying? I could have did that. I didn't. Personally, out of all that, I don't think that Ricky Starks came out of that looking very bad. You know what I'm saying? I think it wasn't me that looked bad in that whole situation. And so It is what it is. The funny thing is, people say AEW, that's where all the unscripted promos are. And then someone was like, Ricky went off a script. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. How? What did I do? You know what I'm saying? I didn't do anything. So, yeah, what a great promo that was, right?
Sounds like both of you guys went off script.
There's no script.
And there you have it, man. Ricky Starks talking about the Edge situation. Adam Copeland, I should say. Very interesting comments, very interesting thoughts. Ricky Starks obviously being extended. Ricky Starks obviously not being used. That was a moment that I think for a long time people assumed would be like the issue for Ricky, and part of the reason why Ricky and AEW have a rocky relationship. What's really interesting is he also talks about being in attendance at WrestleMania. Tony Khan approved it. But then it also kind of sounds like he doesn't feel like Tony Khan really appreciated it. Like, it's just a weird situation. There's clearly a weird dynamic there. I feel bad for Ricky Starks. It's only a matter of time. You know, I remember when Mustafa Ali wanted out of WWE, it went trending, free Mustafa Ali. Now we're starting to see free Ricky Starks trending on Twitter. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. But I have a feeling we're not going to be seeing Ricky Starks anytime soon.